So I wanted to make another video, and this one here is going to be a little different. So as you can see here, I have jack stands and all kinds of stuff. And this video is really to talk about what it's like owning something like this. So people always say, oh, I wish I had a car like this, or I wish I had the money to do this. It just doesn't take that. It doesn't just take the time. It doesn't take the money to get it done. It also takes a lot of patience and the willingness to learn. So let's get into what I mean. So first off, you want to consider what you want to do to the car, right? So do you want to have a vehicle with just a couple of mods? Do you want to have a fully built show car like this? Or do you want to have something that goes to the track? So there's going to be different things that you want to consider. There's going to be different problems that you're going to see that could arise based on the type of build you want. With this type of build, there's a lot that can go wrong if you don't do it the right way. So starting off with the wide body. If we don't do the wide body the correct way with getting things matched up the way that they should, cutting the panels where you need to, making sure that all the clearances are there, you're gonna have some type of issue, whether it's your wheel setup that hits against the OEM fender on the quarter panel here, or you might be talking about rubbing issues, or also on the suspension side. Are you going, with the coilover setup? Are you going with air ride? I went with air ride because it makes it easy to just go up and down based on where I'm going and still have a really nice low drive height. When you're static, you can't do that. You're not gonna be going over there, lifting the coils and doing everything on that. So that is something that brings on its own challenges. The air suspension. If you cheap out on the parts you get, the products that you buy, and also how it's installed, that's going to bring problems. Whether it's going to be how the lines were routed and you can get leaks through there. If you're not using the correct tools and you're cutting the line and it wasn't straight, so now you can have a leak there. Manifold issues and all that. As long as you get the correct parts, it's installed right, you shouldn't have a problem. I haven't had an issue here with this at all, and I've ran UAS and now running yellow speed. So that really hasn't been an issue. Then coming into wrap and performance and all of that stuff, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes into that. So with material, with wrap, you want to make sure that it's installed properly. That the person that's installing it knows how they're doing it, knows how to work with the material, because if you don't, you're gonna have some really bad looking vinyl and really bad time with the car itself. So I'll show you some pictures of just random stuff that I saw online. And when it comes to, like I mentioned here, with the car itself as a whole, with performance, that's a whole nother thing, right? Whether you're talking about doing full bolt-ons, upgrading your turbo, the type of tuning you do, that's a whole separate thing that I can make another video about. If you want to see that, let me know that in the comments below. But generally, same type of deal, right? You get the right products, you install it the right way, you should be good to go. If you cheap out on things, you get what you pay for pretty much. So that's why you've seen that I've taken my time to get some of this stuff done, and I've even swapped out some parts here and there because I've gone through 2 separate types of downpipes, not because it was a bad downpipe or anything like that. I just kind of wanted to see what the difference was. On my second type of exhaust here, this one, because the exhaust was old, it just felt like it was starting to not really do much when it came to the way that it was making the car sound, or the pops weren't there the same way. but I've had some issues. When it came to the stock high pressure fuel pump, I had issues with that. I had to replace it. But when it came to replacing it, I broke one of the lines, and I didn't break the actual line. I broke the retaining clip. So on the high pressure fuel pump, there's one of the lines, the low pressure side. There is like this little clip that you have to get evenly to come out, and for whatever reason, it wasn't cooperating. That broke, and I ended up having to replace the entire line. So that's stuff that you guys don't see on the video. When it came to the stuffed turbo, that actually hasn't given me one single issue. Tuning, I had the JB4 on there before, and only did map 1, map 2 the entire time, and really didn't have any issues there either. But when you do tuning, you want to start looking at what comes along with that, right? So your bolt-ons. So I made sure that when I did the JB4, I had the HKS spark plugs in there. I had intercooler, I had the downpipe. So there were a few things that were already on the car before I did that. So the tune could take advantage of those and give me the right power. Now when it came to getting an ECU tune, that's when I was full bolt-ons. So we have the AirTech intercooler, big boost kit, AirTech oil cooler, we have the 6-element intake, we have the stuffed turbo by Pure Turbos, the AFE downpipe. At that point when I did it, I had the X-Force catback system. Pretty much everything you can do to that car, HKS blow-off valve, Pureburg solenoid, catch can as well. Pretty much everything you can think of, I did, along with the rear motor mount and such, and then also all the chassis braces. So when I had all of that set up and ready to go, that's when I decided, okay, let's go with the ECU tune. And at that time, 6-element was just coming out with their EK1 Pro, and I did the stage 3 tune for the stuffed turbo with the EK1 Pro on there. And even though I have gauges now, I didn't have them before, and I used that to, kind of be my eyes and ears for gauges and such. But I haven't had a single issue there. Now, I know that they have the EK1 Lite. Once in a while, you'll see a EK1 Pro come out, and you can snag one of those as well. But on that side, I really haven't had too many issues when it comes to that. So, I mean, at the very end, buying a car to mod for the track and be able to drive it daily, it's a pretty safe bet depending on how you track the car. If you just go balls to the wall on the car when at the track, you're gonna have stuff that breaks. Couplers that can come loose. You're gonna have pads that you're gonna have to be replacing all the time. Make sure you don't warp the rotors. The brake fluid has to be higher rated fluid. Then you gotta make sure you have all the airflow that you need. Or if you're doing the show car and you're gonna get this wild with it, you're gonna have to worry about, okay, well, how am I routing, if you're on air suspension, the airlines. If you're doing coilovers, make sure that you check the locking rings, that they don't come loose every once in a while. Then also, with aftermarket anything, you have to make sure that you upkeep, that you maintain everything. At the end of the day, that's going to be the life of the car, is making sure that everything is maintained the way that it needs to be. Whether it's the spark plugs and changing them out every so often because they're a different type of spark plug and you can only run them for so long, or making sure that everything is torqued down after a certain amount of time once you install a product, just to make sure everything's good. On the exhaust side, making sure there's no leaks. On the intercooler side, again, making sure there's no leaks or anything like that. It's a fun thing to do. And most of the time, everything will be fine. These cars now are incredible to where if you mess something up just a tiny bit, the car can compensate. I've seen a lot of people that, I did my downpipe, but I snapped the stud. And they're totally fine for a bit until they're able to get that fixed. But you do want to make sure you have all 4 studs on there. Other than that, let me know what you guys want to know. I mean, we can dive in and say, okay, well, today let's talk about just the performance. Next, let's talk about the cosmetic stuff, talk about the interior, and kind of what my experience has been owning it and doing everything that I've done. So, just a quick little video. Just wanted to bring that out and let me know what you guys think. Now, when I'm going to start talking about the interior, I want to show you the interior. So in here, there's a ton that was done to the car, right? We have the Corbeau seats. We have the carbon fiber armrest, the Alcantara e-brake, you know, all of these little cosmetic things, but also things that are more functional, like the steering wheel, the gauges. You know, we have the H3R fire extinguisher, reupholstered the rear seats, did the suede headliner with the starlight as well, along with all the carbon fiber pieces and Alcantara door panels and everything in the rear. So this introduces like a whole nother level of complexity. When it's a show car, I mean, it's different where you're not driving it all the time and it tends to stay cleaner. But if it's your daily and you're using things like Alcantara and things like that, it's going to get dirty quick. Right, so the oils from your hands, the dirt from the road, just everything, it'll start getting dirty. So you want to make sure that you keep it clean, that you have the right type of products to get it back up to where it needs to. I ceramic coated everything in carbon. Anything that's in carbon, I ceramic coated, because no matter what, whether it's inside of the vehicle, outside of the vehicle, I want to protect it as much as I can before I need to do a re-clear or anything like that. So, you know, kind of that's what I did when I came over to the interior side of things. And if you're doing a show build, like I said, it's not going to really be too much of a problem because you're not going to be driving it all the time. But if it's a daily for track, if it's just a daily with some light mods, you want to stay away from that type of material unless if you know for sure that you can have the upkeep and maintain it the way that it needs to be to stay looking good all the time. Now, once I start talking about the exterior and kind of wrap and body work and all that stuff, there's one thing I do want to show you guys. And this was kind of a little bit embarrassing, and I need to get it taken care of and fixed. That fender right there. So rolling out of SEMA, I was super low to the ground and driving straight ahead because I can actually roll the car with 0 PSI and be able to be good and not have a problem. So I was rolling it with, you know, stupid low, like super low, and I didn't realize that as we were doing the parade at SEMA during the rollout, that the grade of the ground or the level of the ground was gonna change when they had us exit the parade and go left to park for the meet. It became an incline. So with all the excitement and everybody around and the adrenaline going, I did not race the car and I just went full left and it ate a little bit of that fender. So I gotta not replace it, but repair the fender, rewrap it, re-ceramic coat it. But this is stuff that happens as you own this type of car, right? If you wanna build it, you wanna do all this stuff, things are gonna happen, right? I've gone through like 2 or 3 front lips because rock chips and, you know, maybe some debris on the road. I've gone through, this is my second set of well visors as well, because the last ones I decided to wrap them, and when I unwrapped the car I couldn't have them the different colors, so I needed to make sure that they were good and didn't have any adhesive. This is my second set of mirror covers, and that was just because I wanted to try out the original mirror covers and now went to something like this, along with also underglow. I've had to fix the underglow because I mounted it without really cleaning the surface, and the 3M tape started to come off over time. So there's always gonna be little things, and honestly, some people stress out about the little things, others don't. I tend to be quite in the middle, where yeah, I want the car to look its best all the time, but you cannot
lose your ish if something happens, because at the end of the day, something will always happen, whether it's minor, whether it's big, things that you can't control.
So that's pretty much a general overview of kind of what to expect or how things are when you build a car, whether it's show, track. If you want to know exactly what it's like to build a track car, go hit up Henry over at KDM Station. He's building his Veloster N for track and such, and it's got some mods already. If you're looking for something that's, kind of daily driver, I mean, you're not going to have to worry about a lot of those things, right? You're not going to be doing those crazy mods, unless if you want to have a fully built show car that you daily drive. Then you just take into consideration how much driving you're actually going to do on that car, and also make sure that the parts that you put on there are quality, that are going to last a long time. So just make sure you guys know all of that stuff going in. Don't rush into anything. Take your time. Save up money for something a little more expensive if it means that the quality is 10 times better. Just because at the end of the day, you're going to be paying double for it if you don't. That cheap part may just break, not work anymore, whatever it may be. Whereas to the quality part, you're going to have running and working for a very long time. Maybe even after you don't want it anymore, you replace it, put it back to stock, what have you. So if you have any questions, let me know. Hit me in the comments down below. Let me know what else you guys want to see, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.